Sid and Nancy, the Battle of Belmont, and the Tacoma Narrow Bridge are all on this day. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is November 7th, 2022. It is the 311th day of the year. You got 54 days left. It is your 45th Monday in your 45th week in the 47th day of fall. You got 44 days until winter. Today's National Retinol Day. Yes, a chemical or a lotion, whatever it is, it gets its own day. On November 7th, celebrate the most popular anti-aging skincare ingredient with National Retinol Day. Did you know that retinol is one of the most searched skincare ingredients in the world? As the gold standard for anti-aging ingredients, retinol is consistently recommended by dermatologists and heralded for its transformative effects on the skin. I hate the term gold standard. There was a couple months, I would say around 2016, 2015, where every single person kept saying the gold standard, no matter what it was. This is the gold standard. This is the gold standard. I could not take it. Now I hate it. It's a weird thing I know, but we'll move on. Retinol is retinoid, a derivative from vitamin A, and it works by boosting the skin's renewal process and helps diminish signs of aging, including lines and wrinkles and sagging skin and uneven tones and textures. So, it gets its own day because it's helping people, I guess. All right, let's see what else November 7th has given us. 1861, the American Civil War, the Battle of Belmont. In Belmont, Missouri, Union forces led by General Ulysses S. Grant overrun a Confederate camp, but are forced to retreat when Confederate reinforcements arrive. 1913, the first day of the Great Lakes Storm of 1913, a massive blizzard that ultimately kills 250 people and causes over $5 million in damages. That's about $1.4 billion in today's money. 1916, Boston Elevated Railway Company's streetcar number 393 smashes through a warning gate of the open Summer Street drawbridge in Boston, Massachusetts, plunging into the freezing water of Fort Point Channel, killing 46 people. 1918, the 1918 influenza epidemic spreads to Western Samoa, killing 7,542 people, about 20% of the population by the end of the year. 1940, in Tacoma, Washington, the original Tacoma Narrows Bridge collapses in a windstorm. This is just 4 months after the bridge was completed. From day one, the bridge had a little bounce to it, and everyone noticed it, and it became kind of a tourist attraction. It was actually nicknamed Galloping Gertie. People would walk across and drive their cars across just to feel the bounce and the wave that it went along the bridge. That was all well and good, and the bridge could handle the bounce. That was not a big deal. It's when the wind started blowing, and it wasn't a terribly windy day. That wind started a twisting motion. And when it started to twist, kind of like a corkscrew type thing, that's when it finally broke. Now, in normal situations, if it would have been engineered properly, this bridge would have been able to handle just about any wind. But they made a fatal mistake. The sides of the road were a flat surface, almost like a Lego. And as the wind went across it, it started doing weird things. It actually created little whirlwinds on the bottom and on the top, which started this twisting motion. If they would have put any kind of foil there to, break up the wind, sort of like an airplane wing, the bridge would have been perfectly fine. It was really just a case of bad engineering and aerodynamics. Luckily, no human, I guess you could say, was on the bridge when it finally collapsed. Sadly, a dog named Tubby was in his owner's car, crouched down in the back seat. Well, the owner got out to kind of flee and thought Tubby would follow him. Tubby didn't. The owner tried to get back to Tubby, and he wasn't able to. The bridge had been twisting too hard at that point. The owner had made it clear of the collapse. Poor Tubby did not. There's websites devoted to Tubby. Apparently, one of his legs was paralyzed and he had fallen 200 feet. So let's have a moment of silence for Tubby. 1954, in the U.S., Armistice Day becomes Veterans Day. 1967, U.S. President Lyndon B. Johnson signs the Public Broadcasting Act of 1967, establishing the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. 1973, the United States Congress overrides President Richard Nixon's veto of the War Powers Resolution, which limits presidential power to wage war without congressional approval. 2000, the controversial U.S. presidential election is later resolved in the Bush v. Gore Supreme Court case, electing President George W. Bush as the 43rd President of the United States. Movies released on November 7th, 1986, Sid and Nancy. This was a strange movie. It starred Gary Oldman as Sid Vicious, who was the bass player for the legendary punk rock band, let's just call them the Pistols. A lot of kids watch this show. Sid Vicious had a very interesting and short life. He OD'd at the age of 21 in Greenwich, New York. But the movie is about his life and how it all ended and how it went, and it's kind of depressing, but it's an entertaining movie. Courtney Love's also in that movie. Born on November 7th, 1970, Morgan Spurlock. You may not know who he is, but he's had a couple shows. He is a documentary filmmaker who is best known for his popular 2004 documentary, Super Size Me, in which he exposes the health risks of eating McDonald's too much. He also directed the documentaries for Palm Wonderful Presents The Greatest Movie Ever Sold. Where in the World is Osama Bin Laden was another one, but he really came to prominence with Super Size Me, and he, for 30 days, he's normally a vegetarian, ate nothing but McDonald's food. He gained 24 pounds during that 30-day period. 3 meals a day, McDonald's. But yeah, it's his birthday. Died on November 7th, 1962, Eleanor Roosevelt, the longest-serving First Lady in U.S. history and feminist icon who was known for her humanitarian efforts. In her long career in politics, she fought for the expanded role of women in the workplace, civil rights for African Americans, and the rights of World War II veterans and refugees. She did volunteer work for the New York Junior League and became fluent in French. In April of 1960, Roosevelt was diagnosed with anemia soon after being struck by a car in New York City. In 1962, she was given steroids, which activated a dormant case of tuberculosis in her bone marrow. She died at the age of 78 as a result of cardiac failure in Manhattan. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, be nice to each other.